Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 60 of the Spice Squadron podcast. That's
another tier list.
We made it to elderly. It's another tier list. We're going to do our set 3 leader tier list. So this one, unlike our last episode, which was a competitive tier rating based on numbers and information we have surrounding the meta, based on PQs and showdowns, which is less of our opinion and more of we're just basing it off of the numbers we see. Obviously still opinion. This is all opinion. This is us.
So unlike the previous one, this one is straight 100% facts on what the meta is going to look like in set 3.
100%.
This is exactly where they will stand.
Gun ray up here.
You will see if you do not run these S tier leaders, you will not win the PQs that are coming up. This is 100% meta affirmative content.
Yeah, 100%. But in all seriousness, this one is just us and our initial thoughts on leaders, where we're going to rank them, and then I think we'll probably do a set 3 competitive tier list based on the PQ numbers later on as well.
Yes, absolutely. Once we get to the more competitive season, we'll do the same thing where we have just kind of like
take
the meta
and
leaders of all 3 sets and rank them rather than just all the...
Yeah.
At some point, we might do an all leaders tier list, but it's probably unlikely, and we do not have a big enough board.
We might have to do that one online. But before we dive into it, we did have 3 more legendaries revealed. We do have a lot of leaders to talk about. We're going to talk about them when they come up.
I need to look at my phone to see these.
The whole set is also nearly released, so expect in the coming weeks us doing a pre-release guide and a actual set review where we'll go by color.
Absolutely. I dare say next week you will be seeing our pre-release get ready for video.
Yeah, because the week after that will be the pre-release. So we're going to do a bit of a pre-release guide. I say for launch around there, maybe week of or afterwards, you'll see a color breakdown. So with this one, though, we've got 3 new legendaries. Are we starting it off with the big ship?
We're starting it off with the big ship. It is the Resolute.
Under Anakin's command.
That's
why it's blowing up.
That checks out. That's why it's obviously pointed downwards and crashing.
Another happy landing.
No, but this is a 10 cost aggression,
Devastator?
heroism.
It better have an effect like Devastator, of course. Surely it's got Devastator
Republic
stats.
vehicle capital ship. Finally, a big red capital ship.
Honestly,
that is actually
big
huge.
red hero capital ship, because decks like Hunter Ramp can run this now and just have like a huge beater.
And 8 damage in space is pretty good.
But it's not just 10, is it?
It is not. It does have the ability. This unit costs 1 less for every 5 damage onto your base.
That's pretty good. So it can be a 7 drop if you're at 15, which, as we will see with one of the leaders coming up, that's the number you want to be at. Yep. This was released, surprise, surprise, for Anakin. And we'll talk about him when he gets there. But, the more damage you take, longer the game goes on, the easier it is to play this card. I would love to see a Red Han 2 deck use this and use the extra cost reduction in tandem with it. But it has a cool ability. When played / on attack, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit and each other enemy unit with the same name as that unit.
Absolutely. It's a way to clear out droids, clear out clones. Essentially,
duplicates, just like little guys, shore troopers, things like that people are playing.
Absolutely. I think with the 2 damage, it is designed for the clones and droids. Like, that is what its idea is. Yep. If someone goes too ham on building those out, then you can kind of be like, nip that in the bud.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting. We've actually seen... So this is not the first effect of these we've seen. There's a couple of rares and uncommon removals now that... I think there's 3 cards in total, I think.
The best of which is there's a 2 cost hero.
It's a rare. It's like a waylay, but better.
Yeah, so it bounces something
3
or less. And bounces everything with that name. And essentially, when you bounce a token, you kill the token. So you go, awesome, I'm going to pay you 2, and I'm going to kill all of your clones. Or I'm going to kill all of your droids.
Yep, which is really cool. And we've seen about 3 cards, including this one, with that kind of stuff. Yep. I like the Resolute. I think it's cool that it's a beta. Not sure how I feel about it being 10, but it does have inbuilt cost reduction. I think I'm going to give this one a 3 as just a neat little card that you can run, and also a nice beat stick if you don't have a good answer.
No, absolutely.
Double Green's legendary this set.
It is.
Because we've got Palp and we've had the blue one. There was a double blue one a while back, I think. Second Chance. No, Second Chance was set too.
Sorry, that's what I meant.
But there was, and then we've got Unlimited Power, and now we've got Pyrrhic Victory. We might not have seen the double blue one. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But we've got Pyrrhic Assault. What'd it do?
Pyrrhic Assault is a disaster.
Ooh, love that tag.
My favorite keyword. And it is a 3 cost command. For this phase, each friendly unit gains when defeated, deal 2 damage to an enemy unit.
I like this. I like this against Overwhelming Barrage.
I absolutely do. It's one of those things that a lot of these effects, where this like 3-cost green, take something like the raid from the red, the aggression, give everything raid 2,
yep.
And the give +3, +3, +2, +2, +1, +1.
Yep.
This does something that the other two doesn't, which gives it immense value. And it is, if I play this and they go, well, I just clear your board. In the other two, you're cooked. In this
one,
perfect.
Pretty good. Beats out stuff like Assault for Christophsis, and it means if your opponent's preparing to do a turn where they trade, you come out positive.
Absolutely. And if you can get enough things on the field, if you're playing like mono green Palpatine and you're putting that stuff down where you're like, awesome, I have... you draw. There's one where you look at the top 3 and then you play a battle droid every single time you play a card.
Poggle the lesser,
and then double green guy.
Oh my god, Masameda and Poggle the lesser.
And if you have both those out every single time you play something, you're creating a battle droid and drawing a card.
That's gonna be a really fun deck to play.
To put this in there and be like, awesome. Now all these all these units that I've spammed out. Suddenly, if you you wait for the turn where they're like, awesome, I finally have 8. I can finally overwhelming barrage you. And you go, awesome. Would you like to take 15 G base?
I'll kill your leader. It's to an enemy unit.
To an enemy unit.
That you kill their leader. Just kill their leader. Kill their big boy. I give this card a 3.5 out of 5 as well. I think it's locked to double green. It's an interesting card. It's really cool value. This next card, straight up, I'm just going to say it now. This is a 5 out of 5.
This is absolutely crazy.
This is a 5 out of 5. This is a clone.
Yep.
This is a 7-cost command 0/0 clone. You may have this unit enter play as a copy of a non-leader, non-vehicle unit in play, except it gains the clone trait and is not unique.
Huge.
Not just your board, just to quickly preface. Any player's board. Your opponent could have a Vader, you've got a Vader.
An Avenger? Well, look at that. Look at my Avenger.
Someone plays a Han Solo against you, well, here's a Han Solo.
It's a Han Solo back to kill that Han Solo.
You can play your own Snoke and copy your Snoke and have -4/-4 to your opponent's board.
And then copy your Snoke again, and then copy your Snoke again, and have -8/-8.
This card is insane. This is a green auto include. I think this is going to be the most expensive legendary of the set.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
Because I believe this is a green auto include in pretty much every deck.
Pretty much every deck. Yep. Unless you're running like a hard aggro, but even then, copying something like if you're doing a green-red like aggro deck, like you're running like you want to be like, all right, I'll clone my Wrecker.
Also
I'll clone my Poe.
Also with a leader coming up. That is my favorite leader in the set that has been revealed. This works really well because it has a clone tag. This is like absolutely insane in that deck. That's my favorite leader in the set. Talking about. But I give this a 5 out of 5. This is ridiculous. This is our first actual clone effect. It's really funny that it's called clone.
It's really cool.
But let's dive into it. Alrighty.
Absolutely. So we have a stack in front of us. We have all 18 leaders from the set, which is why it might sound like we're rushing through it a bit because we don't want this video to be 7 hours long.
And we do have to cover up a couple of new ones.
If we
talk about everything the length we want to
talking about things. So,
go. What's number 1?
You introed. I grabbed the first one last time. You get the first one this time.
Oh! Clone Captain Rex.
Oh, straight up with the bangers.
So, a lot of people don't actually like Rex.
I can see why. I understand why
my initial thoughts were the same too. So I think people are stuck where I thought. When I first saw Rex, I went, man, this sucks because you have to attack, his ability sucks.
Yep.
That's not the point. You want to ramp flip Rex early, make a bunch of clones, get overwhelming board, and then use his ability late game because you've set up that board to just attack. And it's actually really easy to get going once you've started it. Even if
I think people are trying to start it too early, and they're running into problems where their board's getting a little bit cleared, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't have anything in hand to play, and I was banking on
flip early. You just want to ramp and flip early." So I actually think once you crack that code of Rex, because I've been playing a mono green Rex Republic like Troopers build.
Oh yeah,
and it's so fun and it's really really good. It's definitely like I've beaten Sabine a lot with it, so I've tested against a lot of Sabine, and it's just early game dropping like echo bases, buffing, ramping to Rex who can trade.
I think this is one of the best leaders. Weirdly enough, that utilizes stuff like Home 1.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
by
yes,
that stage of the
yes.
game, you've spammed out a lot of board.
And
Ewing.
Yep.
And so Ewing into home one with this guy, you're going to have so much restore.
So the
back at the end
MVP in my deck, so the main reason I've actually been able to beat Sabine so much is Echo-based Defender
Love it.
and 5-0 First Battalion. That's that 3
interesting.
cost, 3/3 on play. If you control another Republic, heal 3.
Yeah,
and
no, it's very good.
I've won games because I've been able to stave off, dropping an Echo base and making it a 4/4, positive net there.
Yeah.
And I swing my clone troopers to positive trade into my opponents. They live because of Rex's buff. And then you wing, and you get 2 of these guys out, and you heal 6 to base, and you've got 2 3/4s on board because of Rex. And let me tell you, that's pretty good. I think Rex is really, really solid. I think that you're going to see a lot of him. I don't think people have cracked the potential, and I think he's a big old A-tier boy.
Ooh.
I think that he could
We're
be
starting this off controversial already.
I think he could be really good.
I am really keen to play this deck as well. I really like it. I don't know how strong it's going to be in the meta, but I agree with the A tier.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it was either I'd say like to me it's like it's either the top of A tier or like the very bottom of A tier. But like I still think it sits in A tier. I think I think I would struggle to put this in B tier. I think there's just too many
he
synergy
actually
going
is
on.
a lot of value, and there is the fact that he buffs troopers is really good. So I think Rex is really good. I think that you need to give him a chance and not just dismiss him. Because we actually were saying this before. I'm going to preface this now. You're not going to really see any leaders in these two because both of us are of the opinion that
A lot of the leaders this set
are really good.
have some really cool mechanics.
They're either really fun or they're either really decent.
Yeah. So this Captain Rex is one of those situations where he is high because he's quite good, but also he's very fun. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with him, which makes the deck super fun and enjoyable. Absolutely. Let's see what we have next.
What's next?
Oh
my gosh! I've been waiting to
the
talk about
newest
this one.
It is Chancellor Palpatine. I don't have his flip side, but good lord, is this?
So, this is a big one.
This is a huge one. Oh, where is this going?
So, for those of you who don't know, we haven't talked about this leader yet. This is the last leader revealed. His front side is a yellow hero leader that reads, this card starts on this side.
Face up.
Face up. It starts
Action.
face up.
Tap.
Ooh. What
If
could it
a
do?
friendly heroism unit was defeated this phase, draw a card.
That's pretty great.
Heal 2 damage from your base.
That's really great.
Then flip this leader.
This leader doesn't deploy.
This leader does not deploy.
might be
It
sitting
does
there.
not have an epic action.
You might be sitting there going, wow, that's already incredible. And what is its flip side?
Its flip side is
A yellow villain.
a yellow villain.
So it's a yellow hero on the front side.
Yellow villain on the backside, and its backside says tap.
If you played a villain card this turn.
Then you deal 2 damage to a base
And make a
clone
clone
token
and
flip this
card.
leader.
Whoa!
So this is a leader that does not deploy at all.
And is hero
And this is
and
something.
villain.
This is actually something that we were theorizing in set 1 when we were talking about what we want in the future of SWU.
Yep.
This is one of the ones I actually said in that video. It was
Leaders
a long
that
time
don't
ago,
deploy.
but I wanted something that did not deploy and had a different kind of ability that was just leader.
I remember at the beginning of set 3, in our little SWU group chat for our locals.
In the beginning of set 3.
Or the beginning of spoiler season for set 3. In our little group chat at locals, we've got like 30, 40 people in that group chat. And it was just a sea of people being excited. And I remember seeing one our friend Jono message and was like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a hero villain flip leader? And I remember saying, they won't do that.
Now, this leader is so interesting
He's
because
so
of that.
interesting.
Because you don't just have... This is not a 3-aspect leader.
No.
That's not what this leader is.
it's a
and it's
2-aspect
easy to be like, oh, it's a 3-aspect leader. He's got all the 3 aspects. He's got 3 aspects. He doesn't. He only ever has 2 aspects at a time. So
yeah.
while he's on his front side and has that heroism, you would have to pay aspect penalty
For villain.
for villain cards. Now, a lot of people saying is like, oh my god, so I can include heroism and villain units in my deck. Thing is, you always could.
You always can.
So that was never actually a restriction to your
No.
deck building.
It just the aspect penalty wasn't. It's specified in the rules. The aspect penalty checks the available aspects for your leader at that time, and the available aspect on Palpatine at that time is hero or villain, depending on the side.
But
he is.
never both.
But never both. Which is super cool, and it's why the front side cares about units dying, and the back side cares about cards. So a lot of the decks that I was building a deck because I saw this. And my initial reaction, you can okay, we were playing, we were having like a Warhammer night, and this came out, and I freaked out. I was like, this is S tier, this is S tier. And then I built a deck later that night and went, I still think this could be really strong, but you have to be super smart.
So, easily the best leader ability in the game.
Yep.
Easily.
Easily, 100%. So much value.
But you do not have a leader flip. And people might go, that's fine, I got a really good ability. You're going to learn really quickly.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Yeah. Having that extra unit for free, and usually quite well-statted leader unit for free, is a huge turning point in the game. And you might say, oh, well, I don't really care if my leader dies immediately, so that's fine. But there's a very big difference between I flip my leader and trade with your leader, and he's dead on that turn, or I flip my leader and you rivals fall and he's dead, and not getting that flip at all. Because it's what that's doing is essentially also either trading positively or using a bunch of your opponent's resources.
This leader also doesn't interact with the board in any capacity. It's the only leader that doesn't. And you might be saying, oh, but other leaders don't. And you're wrong in that sense because the leader still flips. And when it flips, it can interact with the board. This leader doesn't. The only thing it does is make a clone, but it's not targeting enemy units. It's not doing anything like that.
So this is a really weird one.
I give him a 4.5 out of 5.
So one of the weirdest thing about it is we just don't know. This has been out for 1 day as of recording.
Yeah, as of recording.
And it could be S tier or it could be D tier. We don't know.
I really like him.
I also really like him.
I think everyone
really
likes him.
At the end of the day, putting him anywhere on these extremes would be lying to ourselves that we know more than we do.
No, I don't. And I think, like, I love this leader because my head is swirling with ideas. Like, build a mono yellow, build a red one, green ramp one could be good.
I think you had a really good point. You're going to see a lot of this in the first few weeks of play.
100%. You're
going to see a lot of this. You're going to be like, man, this is all over the place.
It's so interesting. It's fun.
It's so interesting and so fun. It's going to fall off in popularity because people are not going to be able to navigate that flip turn of your opponents, and there's so much that you need to be prepared for this deck that I think it's going to be very difficult to play this at a level that you can keep up with meta decks. And for that reason, I'm putting it in D.
Now, with Palpatine, I think that it's going to be one of those things where not a lot of people play it, then it stops seeing play because people go, oh, it's bad. But it's not bad. It's just difficult to play. And I think someone's going to come along who's a really skilled player, and they're going to play this, and it's going to be like, this leader's like unbeatable. But it's because that player knows what they're doing.
I think there's definitely going to be people. I think this is one of the first instances that we're going to have. And we have it kind of like people being like, I've only ever played Boba, and I love playing Boba, and I win with Boba. I think this is going to be one of the biggest things where in this set and in the coming sets, we're going to have people who main Palpatine.
Yeah, this is going to be
people
are
going to be terrifying, and people who are just picking up are going to be not so much.
A lot of reason we have a lot of Boba is because he's easy and accessible. A lot of other reasons because he's a lot of favorite people's characters in a pet deck. Some of us haven't had pet decks yet, and that's fair because the game's early days. This is definitely 100% going to be a lot of people's pet decks.
It's sure as hell going to be
so
mine.
Fun.
It's so interesting.
My pet deck is still coming up as well. Let's see who's next. Ooh, okay. No, this is an interesting one. We've seen the showcase for this.
We have very pretty
this
showcase.
This is Padme Amidala. Anakin's wife. No, serving the Republic.
Could you imagine?
Oh, Lord. So she has Coordinate, Action 1, Tap. Search the top 3 cards of your deck for a Republic card, reveal it, and draw it. And then she has the epic action where she flips. I believe she has Restore, and I think she has the same thing on attack.
Yep.
So, what do we rate this?
I know that I'm higher on this than literally everyone else that exists in Swerve.
It's true. I remember seeing this and being like, "Oh, brother, this card, right?" And James was like, "Yeah, how good is it?" And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Okay. All right. Well, hold on. I never said good.
No, you said how fun is this?
I think this could genuinely be a really interesting deck, but I understand. This is the deck that comes down to what is the rest of the meta like?
Yeah.
Because if we stick with the current meta where you're either aggroing someone down really fast or you're controlling them in 90 minutes,
Or your boba.
which is
Anyone.
usually aggroing people down really fast.
Well, I mean,
If we get a more ramp, if ramp and mid range come into this more, I genuinely believe, and I'm going to be wrong about this, and that's fine, that coordinate decks can have a place.
Okay.
And I think this coordinate deck is probably the best at it because it's green.
This leader has the best coordinate payoff.
Yes.
I will admit that. This leader has the best.
And I think it has the best chance to keep coordinate up consistently because you can play 2 cards a turn and keep doing it, like going.
So there's a lot of stuff in this set that we haven't seen yet. Still, probably by the time this episode goes out, we probably will.
Yes.
But even just along a few things, she can use all the cards Rex can use. She can use all of the Republic cards. There's a couple of stuff that we have seen. In Defensive Camino is a card that is really good in this deck because it's Republic. You can search for it. On the artwork for the pre-release kit, there is a blue card. It is a blue hero event. It is called For the Republic, and it has the Republic tag. We don't know what it does, but I've seen that. It's got the art of Rex and Cody on Christophsis. I've seen that. That could be really good.
Yeah. I think there's definitely going to be some interesting stuff that you can do. I think green is a really interesting one. I would probably it'd either
ramp and everything.
Yeah, whatever color you put her in, there's stuff you can do with it. And I think, in my personal opinion, that this is a underrated deck. I'm not going to say it's S tier. I'm not even going to say it's A tier. But I think people look at this leader and they say that's a D tier, and I disagree. But where are you putting it? You have control over it.
So I don't disagree with your points, and I don't really feel that many leaders go into C or D tier, if at all, this set. I actually think that Padme is being stopped by one thing. Right now, she's decent. I think right now, if you bring this to locals for fun, you could probably easily go 2-2, maybe even 3-1 with it.
Yeah.
I think if this deck gets a card that many people have been asking for this set, so fingers crossed, is a unit that counts for 2 for coordinate, she becomes nuts good.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to put her at the bottom of B tier because I think that she...
Okay. I love her. We do have limited space on this board, so we do need to use these lower tiers. And I think we're going to end up pushing her down to the top of C tier.
Maybe. I think that the thing is, though, there's already decent stuff for her. And whilst I don't rate her that well, I still think that she isn't that bad. Because I think that searching out for cards and depending on what exists in the game when the full set's released, she could be really good. Even right now, she has access to anti-board wipe and stuff. But if you want to put her in C, I'll put her in C.
I think we should put her in C.
Get down there, lady.
And I'm going to run her. I really like her, but I think she's in C purely because we have 18 leaders.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to fill up these 2 tiers pretty heavily,
probably pretty quick.
And it's going to drop down at some point anyway.
But I think, I guess, maybe you're getting to me too much. I don't like it, but I think I'm maybe a little bit hopefully optimistic because I think that.
Finally.
I think that right now, if she gets a unit that counts for the 2 for the purpose of coordinate, I put a topper here, maybe bottomer here. Because selective drawing
is huge.
Is really
it's
huge.
Always been huge.
Especially if we get like a removal card. That's if For the Republic is a removal card and you get a unit that counts as 2 for coordinate and you can search it, she's amazing because she has a card that triggers everything and a card that lets you kill. And she has a complete draw. But right now, it's just a bit too up in the air to be good.
All right.
Who next?
Ooh,
this is a really cool. I think we're both pretty happy with this one.
We're very happy with this one, I do believe. Quinlan Voss is very, very interesting.
He is really good.
So Quinlan Voss is when you play, is a cunning heroism. Really the only pure cunning heroism that we're getting this set,
Yeah.
which is interesting. If it was me, I probably would have made the starter deck yellow just so that
So that there
we
was
an
a-
extra yellow.
yeah.
I understand why they didn't.
It's super interesting and really fun, but I agree. I think
This is really the only pure, because this one's just getting funky, right? You're getting funky down with it.
Oh yeah. This is its own category, not even hero or villain. It's just
Exactly.
This is Palpatine.
So this is our hero cunning.
This, in my opinion, is also the second best hero cunning leader in the game behind Set One Han.
True. Very true.
I think this is amazing.
And it says, when you play a unit, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to an enemy unit that costs the same as the played unit.
Pretty good.
Very good. Now, seeing as a lot of the swoop plays on curve,
Yeah.
this is going to happen more than you think.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, a lot of the time, you have units from previous phases on the board. So there are times when you sit there being like, oh, I can play a 2 cost, a 3 cost, or a 4 cost, and I'll hit something here.
Yeah.
Which is, I do believe tokens are 2 costs.
And tokens are 0 cost.
Are they 0?
They have no cost.
Interesting.
Tokens have no cost. Which is super good for stuff like this. Is if you have ways to make tokens. Tokens. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, we're wrong. Tokens aren't even put into play.
No, they're created.
They're made. But I think this leader's really cool because he essentially just says, if you're playing on curve, play a unit, ping a unit.
Yes,
And
absolutely
that's cool.
And a lot of as I said, like a lot of the time you're gonna be able to be like, awesome. If I play this unit, I can ping that. So it's not like something that's random. It's something that you can actively play around.
Plus, he is a 5-flip 3/7.
Yes,
That is
5 foot
really
3/7,
good.
on attack, same thing.
Yes.
Actually, no. What's his? On attack?
I don't believe it's on attack. I think it's just when you play a unit, you can ping a unit with the same cost. So he is pretty awesome. I have seen a few people saying that Quinlan Red's pretty good, being able to Grogu turn 1. Now there are 2 of them into the Anakin from the starter deck, which is actually a really good card because it's a 5-cost 6/6 post stats. If you're getting that out turn 2 and then playing a unit straight away, ping one of their units, then swing for a 6/6 draw a card, that's like
Very good.
really good.
Yeah, very, very, very good. So he definitely has some really cool lines.
Yeah.
He just has some really cool ability. He reminds me a lot of CAD, which I
Yeah.
really enjoy.
And Cad's also still pretty good. Like Cad's widely considered, I think, the second best villain yellow leader in the game behind Boba Fett, which is that, and it's like a wide margin, but that's still a pretty good place to sit because that means if Boba ever gets removed or phased out or rotated out, Cad's the best leader for yellow.
Absolutely. But it's still cunning hero.
I think Cunning
haven't
Hero gets a
seen-
lot better now.
It is better. I don't think I've seen anything that really brings it into. I think
I disagree.
Quinlan is a great leader, not a hero cunning leader.
But I think that I think that he is a great hero cunning leader. And I think that's because we've seen Yellow Han do a lot of stuff. I think that Quinlan, yellow Quinlan is going to be really good.
I think red yellow Quinlan is going to be very good.
Meta.
I'm worried that something like yellow Sabine is just going to be better though.
I don't know if it can because I think this has an inbuilt ability to be like this has the inbuilt ability to counter Sabine the same way Red Cad does. You can run Tarkentown with this.
Yeah.
You can ping your Sabine unit, so it has, and we know for a fact that works really well into Sabine. Red Cad has a great matchup into Sabine.
Does very much
I
so.
think that if you put this in the hands of a decent player and build that deck well, you've got yourself hero versions of Cad, and that means you've got access to Enfys Nest and Han Solo.
Yeah.
And that's
I still
really
think
good.
this sits an A.
I personally disagree. I think this is the bottom S tier. But
It's one or the other. It's the top of A or the bottom of S.
I think he's better than Rex.
I think he's better than Rex as well.
I think he's bottom of S. I just think
All right, let's.
because I just think he offers so much, right? Bottom of S tier.
Yes.
Lucky me.
I will.
Wahoo, wahoo.
I am cautious on it. I am worried that it is going to. My biggest worry is it's not going to be able to close out games very consistently, very similar to CAD. But I do realize the potential of it, and I understand that it's got yellow hero has gotten a lot of really cool stuff.
It does have Resolute now.
Yes,
and that actually might,
but it's not.
It could access
like
Crate
Resolute
Dragon.
is fine, but then they drop Devastator.
It could.
Then they drop.
But it could.
like-
It can run Crate Dragon as well.
So it definitely has some things that to do, and that's why I'm
can run
putting it so
Wrecker.
high. It's my thing is it's either top of A or bottom of S.
Fair enough.
But
That's
I'm
fair.
worried about it moving on.
What's next? Ooh.
Well, we know where this is going.
Yoda. Holy moly.
I have not talked about Yoda
Guacamole.
yet.
This leader is sweet. This is a blue hero. Yoda's front side says action, tap. If a unit left play this phase, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on the top or bottom of your deck. A unit, not hero or villain. Not friendly or enemy, just a unit. So that's pretty cool.
Wait, what, sorry?
If a unit left play this phase.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be your unit. But most importantly, it can be your unit. Bright Hope back a unit, and then
Absolutely.
do the Yoda, and then he flips on 7. He's restore 2, and James, when he flips, what he doing?
He is... I can't remember. I'm not going to lie to you.
Discard the top card of your deck, and then you may defeat a unit with a cost equal to or less than the.
I knew it was
discarded
defeating something. I
card.
just couldn't remember the caveat around it.
And then he's a 4/9. Wah wah wee wah.
Wah wah, we were indeed.
My Grandmaster.
Yes.
Very good
Very,
card.
very cool. Finally, You're My Only Hope is playable.
You're My Only Hope is actually really good because you do put a card from your hand at the top of your deck.
Yep. And that's all we needed. We said that from the beginning. All we needed was to be able to put a card from our hand on top of our deck, and You're My Only Hope suddenly becomes really good.
You might think he's memeing, but he's not, and he's actually right.
I'm not memeing at
This
all.
is actually really good with You're My Only Hope. This is really good with R2-D2. Either of them.
It doesn't cost a resource, right? No.
Nope.
In situations like this, you go, awesome. My turn 2 is to trade our turn 1 place, which happens quite a lot in Swoop.
Especially with the new 3/2/2 cost clone unit, which is amazing.
I'm going to trade our turn 1s.
Yep.
And then I'm going to
Stack the
Then
deck.
I'm going to tap Yoda. Yep. I'm going to draw a card. I'm going to go, awesome. Here's my 5 cost on top of my deck.
His if you're playing red Yoda, here's Anakin. Here's Poe.
Yep.
Here's a turn 2 Poe Dameron.
Yep. What's blue and 5 cost? All I can think of is Obi-Wan.
What's blue and 5 cost? That's good.
I can think of 4 costs and 6 costs. I'm blanking on this.
But no, like you can play stuff like Obi-Wan early.
Yes, absolutely. You can play Luke early. You could play Luke for 5 resources.
Yeah. That's like
without
really
damaging
crazy. You could play Rey, the Rey unit.
Yes, Rey.
That's pretty
turn two Rey.
Pretty
That
spicy.
is actually very good.
Because she's a 4. I think she's leader stats. I think she's a 4/7, and she heals. And if she's healing something that ain't hero, she puts shield on it.
Oh yeah.
Play a Nima Outpost Constables next turn, and then just have that loop of swing, heal, and put a shield on them. Swing, heal, and put a shield on them. Swing, heal. What are they going to do?
Not much.
And if you're playing yellow Yoda as well, you get access to now there are 2 of them as well. So you can flip your turn 2 Rey, and then get next turn, play a Luke. Something like, do something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind
There's
of
a lot of really cool shenanigans that can happen with Yoda. And I think one of the biggest things is, you can trade in something. You can even trade in something and not die and then play. Like, I think his synergy with a lot of cards is really good. And even discounting that, he's just got he can cycle through cards.
I've also been waiting for this. I think early on I said I wanted a Yoda leader.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to say this, controversial. Firstly, you can build this as control, and not the gross, boring kind. But you can build this with removal, interesting stuff, fun end games.
Indeed.
You can build this as a deck that removes early game and trades and ramps into home 1 consistently and easily, and have that be a good deck. You can also build this as what, again, I don't consider control, which is just Vigilance Mill. That's not really control.
It would be good.
But if you do want to build a control and run Hello There and Take Down and Fell the Dragon and run all those other cards that are interesting and still make positive trades while still playing units and have your big bombs to end the game with, that's control. That's really fun. You can build that. I want to test out a deck similar to the yellow-blue Rey droids. with Yoda because I think it'd be really fun to use R2. Again, You're My Only Hope. You can turn to Chewie out. Stuff like that's really cool. So yeah, I think
there is
awesome.
Unfortunately, like You're My Only. We have to talk about it. Like You're My Only Hope is card. It's not unit. So So you can do things like remove this. Awesome Yoda ability. You're My Only Hope. Vanquish that.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of power in this leader. You can even
solid.
Like you can even do stuff like paying for Rivals Fall, stuff like that. Being able to make a situation where you can remove leaders.
So there is a lot of a lot of removal that this. So I think the thing is though, that isn't Vigilance mill because I don't mind if they do that. Because that costs a lot of cards, as long as their deck has a way to kill me without milling me. If they're gonna do that to me, sure, that's part of the game. That's perfectly valid and reasonable. At least cap it off with like a Luke Skywalker or something to beat me to death with. Like I don't care if you're gonna spend 4 or 5 turns killing all my stuff, as long as you're gonna kill me quickly. But
no, Yoda is definitely gonna be really interesting.
Absolutely love him.
And
build
will
him however
be
you
really
want.
Interesting how to
I think
see
he's
this
S
going
tier.
forward.
I think he's S tier.
Oh, absolutely, he's
S tier. I think he's so cool. I think he adds a really cool dynamic to stuff. I really like how well he works with the set 1 droids. He is so rad. Move him to the top of S tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna move him up here a little bit. I think he's
top of
very,
S
very
tier.
good.
I am.
All right, what's next?
I also give him a 5 out of 5. Bazinga. Oh, I wanted this one.
You did want this one. This is his pet deck. This is Nala Say.
My favorite leader of the set.
This is a really, really cool leader.
This is a really good leader.
So this is a Vigilance villainy leader. We love those here on the Spy Squadron.
Our first Kaminoan, baby.
Clone Engineer.
What could that do?
So very similar to Hera in ways, very not similar to Hera in other ways.
A little bit better than Hera.
Ignore aspect penalty on clone units you play.
Holy moly.
Just all clones.
She is also a 4-flip leader. She flips. She's a 4-flip 1/7. She has ignore the aspect penalty on clones and clone unit you control. Clone units you control have, when defeated, heal 2 damage from a base.
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly.
It's got a lot of stuff to do.
So, you might be thinking, well, this is just Hera. And you're wrong about a few things there. Firstly, she flips earlier. And she has...
Which is huge.
And she has...
Flipping at 4 rather than 6 is big.
She has a great healing ability. And clones are better than Spectres.
Yes.
There's
and
more of
more
them.
variety and there's more to do.
There's more variety. There's more. Spectres are great. I love them. Represent. But there aren't enough Spectres yet.
There's so many clones.
This whole set was about clones.
And you can go mono blue.
Because
it says ignore the penalty. It doesn't say ignore the heroism. It ignore the aspect penalty. So you can be like, awesome, I'm going to go mono blue with Wrecker.
So
mono blue villain with Wrecker.
I built a deck as soon as I found this. So we, in our group chat, we had everyone be like, oh, look at this, a meme leader. I built it and posted a deck. And everyone went, because I saw this leader. And
this is never a meme leader. I was like, this is cool.
But most people in our group chat were like, it's like Hera little meme. And then about an hour later, before people had time to properly process it, I posted my deck in, and they all went, is that Wrecker? Is that Echo and Tech? You can run Tech and Villain now, and you can smuggle out the...
And run Tech and Villain and just smuggle everything out.
And it's my deck is literally a blue ECL. Blue ECL with ambush wreckers and clone wreckers and playing like all of your units. You've got the Batch Brothers to play stuff. I run Omega to search. You've got the 2-cost Echo that becomes a 4/4 clone officer who is your fleet lieutenant, but he's still a clone, so you can play him and attack with stuff.
Yep.
So this deck is an awesome value deck.
This is a really fun deck.
It only gets better because we're going to see more clone units as the game goes, but it's already really good because we have like 50 clones to pick from.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of different ways to build this deck. A lot of different ways.
But like being able to, ramp early, ECL a Wrecker, and then overwhelming barrage. That Wrecker, gross.
Absolutely gross.
I think she is so good. And I think, again, the main reason she is so good is because clones are so good. And Hera would really be really, really good
if we had more Spectres.
Were that
if we had 10 more Spectres, we still wouldn't have as many Spectres as clones.
And that's the thing, though,
Yeah.
right? Like, even if we had like 10 more Spectres, Hera might be a little
We've
bit
had
better.
2 sets of clones coming through.
We've had 3. We had clones as far back as set 1.
True.
And then we had Wolf. We got a bunch in set 2. We got Wrecker, Tech, and in set 3 we have so many more. And we also haven't seen all of the set. We still know there's legendaries to come. There could be more clone legendaries, and you know where they're going. Not in your Republic deck, but in this Nala Se deck.
Absolutely. I think this one is really interesting. I think just being blue villain gives it a bump.
Yeah.
And then being able to run all that heroism
Being able to run
stuff
Wrecker
is huge.
and Echo. Wrecker and Tech are the biggest things for me.
I'm a little bit torn. I'm not sure whether to put this at the top of A or in S.
So I think it's S because she gets access to Overwhelming Barrage, Power of the Dark Side, Wrecker, and most importantly, Tech. Tech lets you smuggle out all of your gross villain cards you couldn't before.
Yeah.
Plus, this deck is straight up the perfect example of clone, Snoke, clone, because this deck has really good early anti-aggro because there are so many early clone ambush cards. Coruscant Guard, the 2 cost 3/2, the 3 cost 3/2 ambush. Then you've also run it with ECL, which is my deck. You've got mid-game Wrecker ECL. You've got Tech for card draw value. And then in the end game, you can play Snokes. You can clone Snokes. You can play Mauls. You can clone Mauls. It's just...
I'm
amazing.
worried about this deck falling into mono blue control,
I'll
mono
be
blue
honest with you,
control.
I think it will.
And I think that's why it's an S tier.
I think it will. I think it will
it's-
because you can just run, like you can run Power of the Dark Side, Fell the Dragon, Takedown, Vigilance,
all that stuff.
and still have Tech.
Yeah, Tech's just a game breaker. Like Tech's
Wrecker,
so good.
And yeah,
Just being able to smuggle out anything, hold hand size, all that jazz.
Well, the thing is, right? I'd consider the green the green villain version I made, a fun version of that deck, and I would sit that against most people, and they'd be like, "This is gonna be a tough matchup." So
yeah,
a mono blue
there's
version,
a lot of stuff that you can do. That's just gonna be nutty.
I also give her a 4.5 out of 5. I think she's awesome. And I think
Next.
her early flip is really good.
Yes.
Oh, hello there.
Hello there.
It's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It is.
A lot of people love Obi-Boy. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's tough, right? Because
We're really stacked S tier, haven't we?
yeah, it's tough though, right? Because you know what I think? This might be really controversial, but I think 6 flip leaders aren't very good. I think 7 flip leaders usually have the stats and ability to compensate them for being a late flip. I think 4 and 5 cost leaders flip maybe even too early that it's so good. And 6 is just at that point where it's like...
I see this leader, and I'm not going to lie to you, I'd rather wait another turn and just
for
play Chewie.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Is this leader flips, he's a Sentinel, but Chewbacca's stats are better, and
he
Chewie
also has
grit,
the ability to like throw down other Sentinels.
So, and that's what I'm saying, right? It's like 6 flip leaders right now are in a weird position where they don't flip early enough to be aggressive, and they don't flip late enough to have a super crazy ability.
Yeah.
So they're just left being like, here you go. Like even like a lot of people say one way you could fix Boba is by making him a 6 flip, and he suddenly gets a lot easier to deal with.
A lot easier.
And I think that's where this leader falls in. I love this leader. A lot of people love Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
A Sentinel is really good. Hello there-ing him. High grounding him is really great. He has a bunch of really interesting cards. He's got that heal and ping mechanic that you can do.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how you make him competitive other than mono blue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the mono blue is good. You get Luke's, you
and
get
I think with
Whoa! I dropped him. He doesn't have the high ground.
and I don't think he's going to have the high ground on this tier list either.
No. I think this man is a B tier.
Really?
No, I think he's a C tier.
Yeah, that's where I was going to put him as well.
It's just really tough, right? Because
it's tough when you see something like this, which is a 7 flip leader, and you're like, but if you don't like the 6 lead, you don't like the 7. But like, it's just a whole different ball game.
He stacks your draws. He lets you get removal early with a bunch of cards. If you're playing he lets you utilize cards like then there are 2 of them and like. You're my only hope.
It lets
and
you
then
really
he
utilize
flips
a lot.
and kills something and has healing.
And is 4/9.
He's a 4/9.
like-
Whereas Obi-Wan is like, he flips, he's really cool, but he is a Sentinel, and a 7 flip is not hard to deal
and the
with.
4/7
at 6.
Sentinel's good.
But my main problem is, right, like, you flip Obi-Wan, I ambush Wrecker. And that's not just that deck. That's like Sabine, that's any red-green deck. Like, and then he dies.
ambush Wrecker. Wrecker lives.
Wrecker lives, you take...
And you take, what?
It's,
So 5,
you take
you take 5 damage to your base.
And that's it. Obi-Wan is gone then.
Yep.
He can't do anything else. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem is with those 6-foot leaders is they just get taken out. Like I would rather
There's so much stuff you can do.
I would rather him be a 3/8.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree
or
with
even
that.
a 5/6. A 3/8 or a 5/6. If you move that stat point 1 over, I think Obi-Wan would be sweet.
But at this stage, the 4/7 is
just a bit slow.
Really
just
tough.
Too slow. Who next?
Who next? Indeed. Let's see.
Who dat?
Ooh, it is Count Dooku. I'm getting all your favorites.
Yes, double the pride, twice the four.
And I really like Count Dooku.
I love Count Dooku.
I love Count Dooku.
He's my second favorite character.
His ability, he's a command villainy. His
Yeah.
ability is action, tap him, play a separatist card from your hand. It gains exploit 1.
Oh yeah,
Very good.
very very good.
Very cool. Falls into one of, like, really, really good. It falls into one issue that I find prevalent among things, and that is if you don't have a board, your leader does not have an ability.
Yeah, I think so. I've played the green-blue version of this, and it's pretty good.
I'm not doubting that it's good.
But the problem is you get burnt out quickly.
Yes.
I built a red-green version of this, and it's really good. And the thing is, you have to be able to... But playing that deck, you need to be able to really switch on, which is not super common for an aggro deck.
And I think to me that's the biggest thing. It's that thing of if you fall behind, I don't think this deck has the ability to catch back up. I think this deck needs to be ahead, because if you're able
to ahead though.
No, it's still a good deck.
Yeah,
but it can't recover.
It's not S tier. It's definitely not S tier. But this leader is still really solid. So playing the blue-green version is really fun. It's really powerful. And playing the aggro version, the green aggro version, is super cool because it's burn. It's just because you can replay like a bunch of those OM droids and vulture droids and exploit them out, and then you play a bunch of bigger stuff to burn. And it is really satisfying and really fun. I think maybe I haven't cracked the leader yet, and I'm sure someone smarter than me will. But I definitely don't think he's S tier.
No.
But I don't think I think he's A. I think he's middle A.
Ooh. I'm happy with it to put him in A, but I am going to put him at the bottom of A.
I think he's middle A because I think he beats Rex pretty easy. Because you can just get out cards that burn and swing and burn and swing, and Rex can struggle to deal with that early.
Yeah.
Plus, when
I'm happy to put Rex, if you want to, because I don't think Rex is top of A tier.
Nah.
You can put that at the bottom and him above if you want.
Two brothers.
Next to each
brothers.
Yeah.
I think he's really good. I think the biggest pitfall with him is don't actually build him with exploit cards.
Yeah, it's using him more as just a value kind of hunt to
build him with the really good
separatist
cards
and just get them cheaper.
Yeah, a turn two crack and make 2 droids. So next turn.
But I will say the limitation of separatist does hurt him.
I've never found that to be a big issue.
I think there's definitely cards that you like. I think it's easy to be like,
I think it's good he has a limitation.
I think if you didn't have a limitation, it'd just be like awesome S tier, like let's go.
But if he didn't have a limitation, he'd be able to turn 2 overwhelming barrage.
Yes,
and that's gross. So
yes,
I think,
I think the limitation is so much.
I think it's positive. I think it's good.
But I think
there's enough separatists in this set that he is decent.
Yes, he's definitely decent. I'm not arguing that he's in D tier, but I definitely think he's the bottom of A.
All right. Who's next?
Who is next?
Watembo.
This is interesting.
This is interesting. I think Watembo is pretty good, but he has a lot of stipulations, and he's action intensive.
He is.
It's tough for me because he is a 5 flip leader, so that's pretty solid. He's a 5 flip 3/6.
Yes.
He does buff. He buffs on attack. That's pretty sweet. This is a leader that loves when you have 2 units and one of them trades.
Yes.
But I don't really know what else to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my problem. He does work great with exploit.
Very well with exploit.
But again, you have to have more units on the field, because if you exploit the 2 units and play a rested unit, then his ability becomes useless. So you need to have like 3 units on the field. You need to exploit to play something. You need to have that one live. You need to tap to buff it, and then you need to swing with it. So, or you need to swing and trade, and then tap to buff, and then swing. So it's like 3 actions a lot of the time. I think mono green Wat Tambor is going to be really cool, because you can enforce loyalty something to draw 2 cards, to tap to buff, to 2/2 to swing.
Yep.
And I actually think that's like really solid, especially because you've also got the added benefit of just having something like a phase 3 Dark Trooper who you commanded last turn. And you pay 2 and you kill a droid token to draw 2, and then you buff that phase 3 Dark Trooper and swing.
I really wish this was when a unit was defeated, you can
exhaust
tap him
him, plus
and
2,
give
plus
plus
2.
2/+2 to something.
Yes.
The addition of the action of tapping is rough.
I think it's needed, because I think if that was just a tap, he'd get out of hand. I definitely think he's B tier. He's not lower than B.
No.
He's like still really solid.
B for ball.
B for what Tambor. Put him in areas.
There he is.
Because I
There
think
he
his biggest thing is all round.
It's the action to me.
Same.
It's
same,
the
100%,
complete lack of
Yeah,
action economy.
It's action intensive, and that's like a lot.
In a world where there's enough removal to be like, because not only because it's always 3 actions, right? It's always the killing
always
of a
the
unit,
kill, the tap,
the tap,
the swing.
and even if they swing into your unit, it's still 2.
Yeah.
Still tap then swing. It always gives.
It's telegraph.
There's
they can
no
respond to it.
there's no way to get this be a surprise.
Yeah. Which, again, it would be so cool if it wasn't, because, mono green, imagine if I had buffed up my Dark Trooper and then I enforce loyalty, then tap, and make that a +2/+2, even if you swing into it.
Or even, ambushing things, ambushing exploit cards. So if you exploited something and ambushed it in. I think there's an exploit ambush card.
Who knows? But
yeah, there's definitely some cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's just action intensive, because it is already pretty good. All right, what next?
What next?
What Tambor next?
Ooh, Asajj Ventress.
Another leader I wanted to talk about.
You want to talk about all of them?
Yeah.
Asajj Ventress is very interesting to me.
She's also very good.
Very good. So, Asajj Ventress is action, tap, attack with a unit. If you played an event this phase, it gets +1/+0 for this attack. Solid. Especially when
she flips at 4.
Flips at 4 as a 3/4.
And she says, on attack, this unit gets +1/+0. If you've played an event this phase, she deals combat damage before.
Yes.
So she gets shoot first.
Pretty much.
She has shoot first inbuilt on her. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I built a red hand discard version of this.
And this works incredibly with things like Surprise Strike.
Oh my gosh.
Just being like,
Shoot
all right,
first.
I'll place a Surprise Strike, I'll attack with her, she gets +1. So I'm swinging for 7.
7 hitting you before you hit me. That's Han Solo. She becomes Han Solo.
Yeah, better Han Solo.
Better Han Solo.
Awesome. You
flip Boba?
You flip your
Wat Tambor leader?
your Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm just gonna go.
Lore accurate.
Yeah, I think Obi-Wan put a bit more of a fight.
True.
It's like, you only have 4 health though. It's like, well.
And even if even the part where it's like, okay, yes, she's a 4 flip, she got 4 health, she dies.
Yes.
But then you're just playing events and then making breakpoints better for your swings with units.
Absolutely. Situational buffs, especially ones unlike Wat Tambor that buff and attack in the same action.
Yeah, it's one action.
That's
one action.
If this was tap, a unit gets +1/+0. If you've played an event, it would not be a good leader.
Be pretty bad.
That is exactly what we're talking about
That's why old Tambor down there.
And now the question becomes, is she a or S?
I don't know yet.
I don't think...
The
it's tough, right?
The hand discard version is very fun and very strong,
Yes.
but there are ways out of it.
I think that is the big thing for me. I think at
saying
the
that,
end of the day...
I did play against a pre-Vizsla who ran a bunch of draw cards, and he could not keep up. So,
I think there's definitely some really cool things. Her being force as well is really
force
helpful.
Force throw and force choke were so good in that deck.
Absolutely.
Plus 4
so I think red is her way to go,
Yeah.
and I think red Asajj is sitting at the top of
Top A, yeah. 100%, 100%. I'm sure someone out there will figure something else out. Maybe there'll be like a blue version of it that's super gross control-y. Definitely don't worry about that. But right now the red's really fun. I definitely think blue control could be a gross way to go with her if you want to just like have her out and then just go kill this, shoot first this. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But overall, I think she's so good. I definitely think she's top A. Alrighty, who next? Oh, there he is. You turned her against me. It's Anakin Skywalker. So this leader's really cool. So this leader has action, tap, deal 2 damage to your base, attack with a unit. If it's attacking a unit, it gets +2/+0 for this attack. So it's like an inbuilt fleet lieutenant to trade with.
Yeah.
He flips at 6, but he's a 4/7. So he's Boba. He's what Boba Fett
Which is the exact same as Obi-Wan.
Now, I am gonna have to pull out my phone for this one. Because I think he's got Overwhelm.
I believe so, yes.
So when he flips, he should have been better prepared for this.
No, I can't remember what it is either. This spoiler season's been absolutely nutty.
He's got Overwhelm.
Yeah.
And he gets +1 attack for every 5 damage on your base. So now a lot of people are like, so I have to use his ability a lot. No, because the aim of the game is just hit your opponent's base.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're just going to have a lot of damage on base anyway.
Yeah. So having a leader
you're playing against heavy control, and then you can just do it to yourself. Then you can do it to yourself as much as you want. So
I mean, like even if you flip him and you've got 5 damage, he's a 5/7. Around the turn 6 margin, you probably do have 10 damage on your base.
Yeah.
So he's a 6/7 overwhelm. That's pretty good. I actually think Anakin's going to be a solid aggro leader. Even a good mid-range because you can fleet lieutenant. The problem is he faces an interesting dilemma. A lot of the time, his front side's not going to do anything because you don't always want to use it. And that's going to be, I think, the big difference between a good Anakin player and a bad Anakin player is knowing when to use it.
Absolutely. To me...
Because he's good.
So... The reason you might be thinking, okay, well, you just shut on Obi-Wan for having a 4/7 stat line and flipping at 6.
But he buffs his power. So if something is going to swing into him,
inherently, he has
better stats.
Because there's almost no world where you're sitting there with that leader and he at turn 5 and you have less than 5 damage on your base.
If that's happened, you've already won and your leader flipping won't matter.
Well, not necessarily. You could be versing control. But in which case, you want to be damaging yourself to getting as much value as possible.
Exactly. So I think that...
I think there's some huge... 1 damage is huge. 2 damage is hitting breakpoints that are trading so favorably for you that it's actually nuts.
It's also, if you're into control and they're not hitting you, you don't have to attack the unit to get this ability. It's just deal 2 damage attack with the unit. So you can just be like, man, just tap, swing 2.
Yep.
Tap, swing,
and
tap,
I believe...
See? Yeah, it's only if you attack a unit he gets +2/+0.
So you can actually tap him, deal 2 damage to your base, and not attack with the unit.
Yeah.
Because the damaging 2 damage to base is the cost. And you just and you say it says attack with the unit, you go, I don't have any units. Anyway. Yeah. So you can just deal 2... Very rarely is it advisable.
Very niche, but it can be used.
You can do it.
Can be used. So I think Anakin is actually a really solid pick. I think he's a good aggro deck. I think he's even an interesting mid-range deck. But I think that the power therein lies where your leader's going to flip, and in most cases, he's going to be a 6/7 overwhelm.
Yes.
And that is pretty gnarly. I don't know where to put him, though. Where do you think?
It is tough.
I still think he's kind of B tier until he can prove what he's capable of.
I would agree with that. I think B tier is probably where he's going to sit.
I also give him 4.5 out of 5 because I think he's really cool.
So I think this is probably...
He's got a lot of potential.
There's a lot of potential in a lot of these leaders, and I think this is probably the set that we're least knowledgeable about at this stage.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it's a set that
because not everything's released, but
But
it's
like
also,
at the end of the day, it's also I haven't played with a lot of these leaders, and I think
the
it's one
meta's
of those
also
cases
really
where
volatile. So anything, like someone could just come out with something tomorrow that makes Obi-Wan or Watambor the best.
Yeah, and it's not that I haven't played with the leaders, and not that I haven't looked into the leaders. I haven't gone through my deck building processes with all of these leaders and found new
something you're
things
comfortable with.
And it's something that I like doing with leaders before I'm fully ranking them.
Yeah.
But because my deck building process involves a lot of like, what can I find? What can I utilize?
Meditation, communicating with dark gods.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you make a lot of deals with demons.
Oh yeah, favorite thing to do actually.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think any of these could find some really cool things that bump them up. I think at
every
the moment,
leader has a home.
with our current meta and with the current state of the game, there's a reason why these cards are up here.
Yeah,
and it's because they can utilize the current meta the best.
Yeah.
And I think it's
if
tough,
things
it's tough to
change,
predict where the meta will go.
Yeah.
And any of these can kind of move
if something
into that
gets
slot.
banned, or if a new card comes out that counters something, this is all really volatile, and that's actually a good thing. That's super exciting.
Absolutely.
That's super exciting that all of these leaders are actually in what we consider good. There's no fin of this set where we see this leader and go, oh man, there's no Afras.
Even then, I found a pretty cool Fen deck that I played a little bit at locals and definitely goes fairly hard.
But there's no Afras or IGs where you just haven't seen them.
No.
You just have never seen them.
But I think there's a lot of really cool stuff. I think if anything, I think I was pretty happy with Watambor, but talking about it just then really put me off him.
Yeah.
I think we could even maybe drop him down to C.
It's just the action economy of it.
Yeah.
But I think
it's just so hard to actually get any sort of value from him.
But this is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. And I want to see who's next. I actually
getting out of hand.
I love him. Newt Gunray is an extremist.
He is an extremist.
And his
does
views
not represent the views of the Republic.
His Trade Federation. His views don't represent that of the Trade Federations. He is an extremist.
Yes. Now, Newt Gunray, a vindictive viceroy.
Best leader art in the set. Because when he flips, you see his concerned little friend behind him. Oh,
he got a card.
He did get a card. His cards are still pretty good.
Yeah. So his action, tap him. If 2 or more friendly units were defeated this phase, create a battle droid token.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. It flips into a 2/8 that he says on attack, create a battle droid token.
He flips on 5, doesn't he?
He does flip on 6.
But he does create battle droid. Now that's the big thing for me. I like this leader in concept. He doesn't flip early enough.
No.
I would actually rather him be a 1/7 flip at 4 and have that ability than be a 6 flip. Because I think it's too late. It's too late to flip on a 2/8 and make
it's
a 1/1.
It's weird because it's just 2. It's only 2 above that, right? So it's 2/8 instead of 3/7.
Yeah.
Flipping 2 turns after.
Yeah, that's a turn a point.
Yeah.
And the problem is, right, like, and then you look at the differences between this night and day. Like, this gets to play wreckers and all this crazy stuff. This makes a 1/1. 2 turns later flip to spend 2 actions to make a 1/1. The flip and the swing.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting concept, and I think there's some cool things that are going to happen with this. I think there's some really cool stuff you can do.
I think you
with
can
this.
make a really good deck with it.
And I think being able to do stuff like create battle droids, exploit 2 battle droids to play a Sarge for free, make another battle droid.
So for me, I would keep this leader the exact same on the backside, but change his front to tap, make a battle droid.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
Because he doesn't ready the droids. He does or even if his flip side was your droid tokens enter readied.
I think there's also not a lot of droid generation in blue, and this might be their reasoning for not having it so much in blue. Yeah. But I definitely really want to run him yellow to get that droid generation.
Yeah, like on the doorstep, invisible hand,
and
droid factory, droid manufacturer.
But then on the other hand of that, yellow.
You want to run him green to
is
ramp into flipping him earlier.
Yeah, and there's a lot of
problem.
stuff in there that I kind of want to run 3 colors with him, right?
Yeah.
I think there's definitely some interesting
Great
stuff that you can do.
Leader.
I think he's probably.
I think he's another C tier. I just think he's too slow.
Yeah.
I just think he's too slow.
I think he's another C tier.
It's that 6 flip. It really is.
It is the 6 flip. If it was 5, I'd be much more about him.
I think this leader would be perfect if his front side was either just tap make a battle droid or he was a 1/7 flipper 4.
Yeah.
And I stand by that wholeheartedly because I don't think exploit is good. And
I like that we've left these gaps, but we don't actually
have anyone.
It looks like we're
planning.
But
we don't. There's no one there. I really like Newt Gunray though. I think that the thing for me once again, I think the design team has done a really good job because all of these leaders have a place. I feel like all of these leaders are only here because we haven't cracked them yet.
Absolutely, and I think
that's huge.
There's a definite thing, especially before the set actually releases, that playstyles are going to be higher than playstyles you don't.
But and everyone has a different playstyle.
If there's a bunch of new shit that you can do with these that we haven't come across yet, obviously they're going lower.
Oh, absolutely.
And the whole Republic, the Coordinate Republic, all the battle droids, I don't know what to do with that many battle droids yet.
And obviously Invisible Hand's a good payoff, but there could be more.
Yes.
Again, this is probably a really good leader for Battle of Christophsis. But who knows? Alrighty, who's next? Oh, yes.
Okey-dokey, where are you putting him?
Time to abandon ship. This is one of my favorite leaders in the set. I think this is my second favorite leader of the whole set. Okay. And he is also my third favorite character in all of Star Wars. General Grievous. This man is amazing. I have built a couple of decks with him. I played the starter deck. Go check out this week's gameplay. And I really like him. I actually think he is a very good red aggro deck. Because you just play small 2-cost droids, like all of the Separatist commandos and things like that. You get 4 LOMs, all of that kind of stuff. And if you want to buy yourself some time, action, give him a Sentinel. Make it a Sentinel. And that ability, you're not using this ability every time, but it's just to buy time or, tap, give the double OM series battle droid Sentinel so they have to swing into it so you can ping 2 to their base. I think that his aggro potential is very effective. I think he is incredibly quick. I think he is really strong. And I think that, yes, he's a 6 flip, but he's a 4/8 6 flip that buffs something else when he attacks.
Yes, the 8 health does help a lot.
I think that he is an A tier. Because I think his aggressive potential is enough. Because 90% of the units you play in this deck, you want to die, because this deck is not an aggro deck so much as it is a burn deck. You're running all of the burn units. You don't actually need your opponent to interact with you, and if they do, whatever, it doesn't matter because you don't care. You're just playing stuff to ping your opponent down and then replaying your droids, playing cards to get them back to replay them. And that's all it is. That's literally all it is. And it's pretty good. I think the starter deck is an interesting show-off of more the droid token mechanic. And this deck doesn't really care about running droid tokens. This deck just wants you to play 2-cost cheap droids that burn and ping. And turns out burn is really good. In my deck, I run Chaos of War at 5. Because you just burn your opponent so quickly that paying 5 and dealing 3 damage to them with it is actually good.
Fair enough.
I could be wrong. I'm probably high on him.
It's up to you. It's up to you where you put him.
Probably high on him, but I smack him in A tier. I think he's really good because he's actually surprisingly quick. But that's only really the red variant that I've tried. I built the green variant and played that. Haven't built a blue one yet or a mono yellow. I think mono yellow would be really fun if you go for. I definitely want to try it because the Palpatine legendary.
Yeah.
Just
make a bunch of droid
tokens, and they all come in readied, and then you just invisible hand. But yeah, I'm gonna put him there.
Alrighty. Next up is Jango Fett.
It's an interesting one.
Do you like Jango Fett?
I do actually think he's pretty good.
Jango Fett is killing villainy.
And
he says, when a friendly unit deals damage to an enemy unit, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, exhaust that enemy unit.
Pretty good with Crosshair. Pretty good with Vambrace Flamethrower.
Yes.
Pretty good with
he
anything.
Flips at 5 as a 3/7. And his ability on his front side is the same thing, but it is not...
not once per turn.
You don't have to exhaust him, so it's not once per turn.
So it's just swing. Inherently, this leader is a huge bump above all of the other leaders because he has access to Fire Spray.
He definitely is.
Not to mention, he uses droids really well. Vambrace Flamethrower is neat with him. it's people are like, oh, it's really, really good. It's fine. It is still really strong.
It's good,
but the thing is,
it relies on your opponent having a wide board.
The thing is, he actually just works really well with droid tokens anyway. He works really well with just swinging into units to get trades over time. And he buys that time. So I think he's pretty decent. I don't know if he's too slow, though, is my problem. Because there's not a lot of... So this leader would thrive if we had units that pinged before they dealt damage, like the Boba Fett unit, like the Sabine unit, but more akin to Crosshair, where it was like tap, ping a damage. Even if it was just tap the unit, ping 1 damage... I think this leader would be a lot better than it is.
Yeah.
But I think that he just falls down because a lot of the time there's nothing in the game right now that strikes me as being like, yes, this is sick and immediate value for the leader.
I was like, Crosshair would be really good in him, being able to just like tap, deal damage, tap something.
Yeah.
Unfortunate thing is Crosshair is so easy to... If Crosshair is disrupted, it's a massive resource sink.
And then you might be going like, oh yeah, but guys, what about the 3-cost Boba unit? Well... The 3-cost Boba unit that pings is going to kill whatever it pings a lot of the time. Much. So it doesn't really matter that you're exhausting anything. It's pretty rare that you swing into something
that like you wanted exhausted.
Yeah, so
you can't ping something else. And
you can't run cards like Pyrrhic Assault with this card because it's double green.
Yeah.
So it's just tough because the thing is, in concept, really great. In practice, you have to spend time making the most effective use of it is Battle Droid tokens.
Yeah.
And this deck... doesn't even like Battle Droid tokens. And this is the deck that Battle Droid tokens are meant to be in.
Yeah.
And so
I think at the end of the day, he's really fun.
He is, very fun.
But I do think he sits in B tier.
Yeah. I think his stat line's great. I think if we didn't have Fire Spray, I don't think he'd even be in B tier.
I feel like there's going to be another B tier coming up, so I want to make sure there's space.
We've got 3 left, I think.
You do have 3 left.
Oh, Mace Windu, Vapad Master.
Speaking of B tiers,
I mean, so this leader is super interesting.
Yes,
and we have had a gripe with this. Not a gripe, but we've had something holding us back from loving this leader since he was revealed.
Yeah,
his front size action: tap 1, deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit. Then, if that has 5 or more damage on it, deal 1 damage to it. His flip side deals 2 damage to all units, and I believe he has Overwhelm. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's just deal 2 damage to all units. Yep. But he is a 5/8. That's pretty great.
Yes.
Deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit for 1 and an action.
Yeah, it's a lot of caveat for something that really you're hoping to, like, ping things initially when they drop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that you're getting to ping things enough.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird cases where it's not very often, like, in this abilities like this, you want to start that train, then have something like deal 5 damage to a damaged unit to finish it off, right?
It's tough because his current payoff units, or setup units, are like, they're heavy. Who dies and is a 4-cost to ping. It's Grenade Strike, which is fine. It's Bloodsport, which hits your units. It's Bombing Run, which hits your units. It's the 2-cost Sabine unit, but if she's swinging into something just to ping it so you can use this ability, she's probably dying, and then you're just spending 2 actions and like a resource to...
It's a bit intensive for what it actually does.
Yeah.
And I think as an aggro deck in Hero, if you're reaching 7... you're running out of options.
Yeah, his lightsaber's really cool.
He's 7, right?
Yeah, 7.
Yeah.
His lightsaber's really cool, and he's like...
But unfortunately, his lightsaber would be awesome if there was a 3-cost Mace Windu.
Let's look at his villain counterpart. There's a villain 5/8 that flips at 7 who has a lightsaber, who has a ping ability. It's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He came out in set 1.
Yeah.
His front side is if you played a unit, a villain card, ping 1 to a unit and a base. His flip is on attack, ping 2, and he has a lightsaber. So it's like pretty much night and day with the 2 leaders. This has a lot more of a cost and less of a benefit than that leader.
Like, you can do more ping when you flip him rather than Vader. Yeah. Like, if they have a big board, you can clear it.
But the thing is, like, Vader's consistent ping.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I think overall, Vader gets more value from his ping because you can do it for more turns.
Mm-hmm.
When you flip this, if your opponent and it's also more telegraphed. Like, they know that Mace is going to flip and deal 2 damage to everything. So they might just save it and might just keep a few units down and swing. And if you don't flip him, then you're losing that battle because your opponent is choosing to just not. And then you flip him and they drop a bunch of stuff. So this guy is... I actually think he's C tier.
He might well be.
I think it's just too tough. He's just a bit too slow. And having that caveat of hitting a damage unit as well.
Yes.
Being able to double ping 5 health is cool, but yeah. Who next?
Next we have...
Ooh. Ma'ul.
Maul. Action. Attack with a unit. It gains overwhelm for this attack.
That's good.
Epic action. Flip him. 6/6 for 6.
That's actually pretty good.
That's actually
really good.
And
he's got overwhelm. He has on his
overwhelm,
side, and he has the same thing. Each friendly unit you control has overwhelm.
Each friendly unit. Everything has overwhelm. Now, this is a deck we have not seen before, which makes it very hard to rank.
Not even, you might be standing there going, oh, but what about Moff Gideon? Well, Moff Gideon wants little dudes to have overwhelm. This guy, you can run the Maul unit with him.
So, the way I build this deck is aggression. It's red. It's mono red.
I built it green.
I build it mono red. And I go, awesome. I have aggression, I have open fire, I have force choke, I have daring raid, and that's my early game.
I think that's too slow.
I think this deck is a slow deck. And then you just start dropping bombs. You start dropping big units with big damage and giving it all overwhelm.
But I think you build it green. And the reason I think you build it green is because you don't need aggression. You run all those other cards. And the main thing is you just ambush in the 5-cost unit. You flip him, you ambush in the 5-cost Maul, you hit 2 things, and then your opponent just sits there and goes, what am I going to do now?
I think relying on ECL is...
No, but you don't have to rely on ECL because you still have access to Overwhelming Barrage. Pump him up, and then... With OB in this deck is amazing because you pump him up and then you pump up your unit. You go, I'm actually only going to ping that guy for 1 and kill this one. And then you swing Overwhelm into the one you ping for 1.
I understand. I still think it's a deck that I've wanted to build for a long time. And this is finally a leader that allows me to build it. Is this kind of early game control, late game beta.
Yeah, so it's just a control deck. It just is a control deck. Because that's what control is. Control is making sure the mid to early game is like you've got the grip so that late game your opponent's like, I can't do nothing, and then you go Crate Dragon, boom, and then you just dropping
so you're dropping the Mauls, you're dropping the
Kylo Ren's, Palpatines, Vaders, all of this stuff. I see what you mean. I still think green is better because it has access to more in the toolbox. Like, imagine giving your 7-cost
I could also
Vader.
see, going for green for ramp, to ramp into those big things.
For me, it's like even running the set 1 Vader.
And you get Vader.
Pay 7
Vader and
Overwhelm.
Vader,
you got
Vader
Overwhelm.
and Maul.
Yeah.
Does give the ability to have 3 Mauls on the field at the same time if you go green.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
The 5-cost, the leader, and the 7-cost.
Yeah.
But also, again, you get your Reinforcement Walker. It's got Overwhelm now.
Yeah. True.
You got Relentless.
I think the green would probably be better. I do really like the mono red version. But I do think this is a very good leader.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, both of us aren't having the discussion about how to make this leader bad. We're talking about which of its decks are the best. So
I think this is a solid A tier.
That's an A tier for real.
Goes in this slot right here,
and I think that's
a solid A tier.
Well, I know the next leader...
no, you don't. There's 2 left.
Is there? Oh.
Yeah, it's going to always end on me because it's even.
Ah! Wait a minute. Ooh.
I actually have no idea what the next leader is.
I know who he is. Ahsoka Tano, Snips. Coordinate, tap, action. Attack with a unit, it gets +1/++ over this attack. And then her flip side is coordinate, she gets +2/+0. What you looking at?
I'm trying to work out what the last leader is.
Do you want a hint?
No.
Okay. So, I've actually already talked about it in this episode. I don't know how I feel about Ahsoka Tano.
Is the red villain leader?
It is a villain leader. So, focus on Ahsoka, boy. Focus on Ahsoka.
No, I want to work this out. What's the other red villain leader? I can't remember.
He loves drawing cards.
Oh, yes.
Yes. I think he's really cool.
Anyway, Ahsoka Tano.
She's an interesting leader. I think in the unupgraded starter deck battle, go check out the gameplay. I think she probably has the edge.
Yes.
But then it's literally like Yeah, Ahsoka, bring her into the meta. She's an aggro red hero early flip leader. It's Sabine.
Okay, so to me, Ahsoka is in a similar boat to Padme.
Yeah.
Does the meta fall in a place where you can get coordinate to work?
If we get an early game coordinate unit that counts for 2, she's better than Sabine because when she flips, she's a 5/6 with Ahsoka's lightsaber.
Yes.
And that's really, really good. Plus, you run her green, so you run Darksaber anyway, so you can flip
There's
her.
a lot of really cool stuff you can do with that.
Well, and on the
I
turn
think
you
the
flip
problem
her,
is getting... If you can't get that coordinate off,
It's
then
just-
it can feel a lot
it's just
underwhelming.
like, why am I not running Sabine?
Exactly.
And that's and that's rough, right? Like, and again, this is a problem that both of us, not a problem, but this is just an observation both of us have made in card games in general, where it always sucks when there's a leader that comes out that's cool and interesting, but there's just a better version of it out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's always just a letdown.
Especially when you like Ahsoka so much.
Yeah, she's one of your favorite characters.
Mm.
I think it sucks. I think she's decent, but I think she's just a slower version of what Sabine already is, and unless she gets something better, I think she sits down here.
Yeah.
I think she's next to Padme or ahead of Padme because I think that aggro inherently.
It depends on what coordinate is such a hard thing to predict because coordinate is so focused on what the current meta is.
Whereas exploit is just like it doesn't matter a lot of the time. Like it just rewards you for playing the game how you want to play.
But our final leader,
Mr. B,
Mr.
He's gonna be beat.
Vizsla. And there is a convenient slot for him, I'm going to be honest.
There it is.
So action, pay 1, tap, deal damage to a unit equal to the number of cards you've drawn this phase.
Outside of the regroup phase. So
draw is expensive as fuck. It always has been. It's been a problem, not a problem, but it's been in SWU.
It's
Draw
noticeable.
Is super expensive. Draw is good, but has no payoff. And
This
they've
guy's
costed
pretty good
they've
payoff.
costed draw
Yeah.
like it has a payoff.
And here's
So-
the payoff.
There is a payoff now.
It isn't a bad one though. So he does. So he
It's-
flips at 5.
I don't think this should have been pay 1.
I agree with that.
Because I think drawing cards is already costing you so much.
much.
I want to be able to all right, turn 3, I'm going to mission briefing, tap him, deal 2
So I've played against this deck, and his ability is really powerful, but it is awkward.
Yes.
When he flips, though, he flips at 5. He is a
4/6.
4/6. Great stats. He gets, if you have 3 or more cards in your hand, he gets Saboteur and Overwhelm. If you have 6 or more cards in your hand, I think he gets +1 plus. Oh no, it gets Saboteur and then he gets +1/+0 and Overwhelm.
Yes.
It's actually solid as.
Yes.
The
leader flip is solid.
The front ability also isn't bad.
I don't
It's
think-
actually great
yeah.
in the mid to late game, but the problem is you're still right.
Yeah.
So he's still right in the sense that drawing those cards, it shouldn't cost an action to do so. And if it didn't cost an action, I'd put him in A. If it didn't cost 1 resource, I'd put him in A. It does cost 1 resource, I put him here. But he's by far the best leader to use I Am Your Father
It's definitely
with.
not like ordered.
No. This is just like
swap around some
this
things.
is just general.
But I think, and I like a lot of these leaders too.
I really do. I actually
it's-
really like Newt Gunray.
Yeah, and I really like Padme. I really like Newt Gunray.
I love Pre Vizsla
Yeah.
a lot.
I think this is probably the most. There's the most number of leaders that I want to play this set of any of the sets.
100%.
Like this is a set where the most number of leaders where I go, ooh, I'd love to build a deck around that.
I can easily pick half of these leaders now, and I can say that I want to build
More
a deck
than
for
half.
them. Yeah,
I think there's just so many interesting things. Asajj, really
I love
interesting,
it.
kind of event focused, which is what Yellow Villain was meant to be.
Yeah.
It was meant to be this
Yeah,
event focused,
exactly.
which is why we came out with things like Bosk.
And
her
is-
running Bosk.
It is awesome.
Hell
Her
yeah.
running Bosk is really,
Oh,
really,
yeah,
really,
love
really
it.
good.
Things like Captain Rex, which I think is a really interesting deck. Things like
This is what the no aspect
Django-
penalty should have been as well.
Yep.
Like,
Django Fett is really interesting.
Yep.
Padme is really interesting. Chancellor Palpatine
is the most interesting
the
leader in
most
the game.
interesting
The most
leader we've
interesting
ever
leader-
gotten.
Yep, 100%.
It might not be the best leader we've ever gotten, but it is the most interesting leader we've ever gotten.
I think he's going to remain the most interesting leader for the next couple of sets.
I think there's going to be some wacky stuff coming out next set, and it's going to be absolutely nutty.
I give Previsor a 4.5, and a Sarge a 4.5. I think I already said that. But that is our little tier list. Wow, we were.
I have no idea how long we've gone for. Hopefully, it wasn't too much longer. But thank you guys very much for watching.
Thank you so much.
Check out the gameplay where we'll be playing starter decks against each other.
Let us know
round 3 starter deck battle.
True.
I won the first one. You won the second one. Let's see how
third?
round 3 goes.
Let us know where you rate your leaders for set 3 in the comments below.
Which one, what leader do you put in S tier?
Yeah, who's your favorite? Who's your favorite leader? Who's your S tier leader?
Who's your? You pick it up and you go, yep, S tier.
That's my nulla say, baby. I got something to nulla say about that.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.